Brighton 4, West Ham 0. Arguably our worst performance of the season at a time where we can't afford to be performing like that. Well, can't afford to be losing games like that. I think the manner of the defeat and the performance alone, it just screams that West Ham desperately need to make a change. They have to. It's so bad. That was such a shockingly bad performance. I'm actually lost for words. I really felt that leading up to this game that we were starting to see a little bit of consistency. I appreciate we just lost to Manchester United as well, but I thought that we were looking a little bit harder to beat. I thought we were going to set up a little bit more organised. But that was a team performance that just screamed that they've totally given up. They're not fighting for the manager. They're not fighting for the club. Really, I'm not angry just at David Moyes in this situation. I'm obviously angry at the club and everything about it, but I'm angry at the players. I'm angry at everything. The manner of the defeat was disgusting. Really disgusting. It's one that just, it just makes relegation more real. I really felt that we were starting to get a little bit of confidence around the club, that we were starting to feel like, okay, we will probably survive this. I still believe we will. I even still, after this performance and that result, I still believe we'll survive. But it's only on the basis that there are 3 worse teams than us. That's the only. And don't get me wrong, I'm not confident that we'll survive. I just think that we will. I'm not just running around screaming and go, I know it's going to happen. I just think that's my general feeling. I still know it's very real and it could still be a big possibility. But the question is now, what do the club do? They can't just keep sitting back and giving the man another match, another game, and then we get a half decent performance or result, and they go, okay, see, look, he's doing all right, because that's what keeps happening, and then we just slip back down into mediocrity, or that wasn't even mediocre. It was awful performance. I'll do a full review later in terms of the game itself, but I mean, in terms of the situation, I can't see any other way than the club not acting now. They cannot just keep pretending that things are fine and it's going to be sorted itself out. I'm not confident that they will. I don't believe necessarily they're going to make a change of manager. That they could well do. But my feeling is now to give West Ham the best chance of survival, just get someone in on a short-term measure, just change the manager, just to freshen it up, breathe a bit of life into the team, because they are not playing for David Moyes. It's so frustrating because we just beaten Nottingham Forest. When I say just beaten, the previous Premier League game, 4-0. And everyone's tails up. We're all walking away feeling excited, thinking, okay, great. There's a bit more of optimism there. Let's go into these run of games now and to go and play a team like Brighton. And don't get me wrong, Brighton are a good side. We talked about it in the preview. Very, very good side. I've got a lot of respect for Brighton, but to show up and just perform in such a poor manner, no fight, no organisation, just totally disinterested. I just cannot fathom these players and why they're performing like this and why they've got no fight. And I appreciate, look, I am aiming the target is at David Moyes, of course. He has to take responsibility. Ultimately, managers are the ones that you can't sack a whole team. So the managers are the ones that can change. It's the easiest way around it, and that's the way football is. But the players need to take responsibility as well. That was why are they not fighting? Why are they showing up at these games that are crucial? Can you imagine if we'd have beaten Brighton today? 3 points, we'd be effectively nearly safe. We could have been nearly 8 points ahead of Everton at the end of this weekend. Effectively nearly safe. We need a couple more wins and you're there. And they just go out and don't even bother showing up. I mean, you have to question what is going on. What is going on behind the scenes? What are they doing during the week? What's the preparation? What's the motivation? What's happening behind West Ham? Because that was a really poor performance, and one that it just screams, it screams alarm bells, and it just makes you think that what are the club going to do? What are they going to do? Because they've stood by David Moyes. David Sullivan stood by him. Let's be honest. We were all crying out for Moyes to be changed before the World Cup. That's in November. We're now, in March. I did feel that there was a little bit something to be a bit encouraged about. I felt that at the turn of the year, we started to show some more solid performances. They weren't, let's be honest, we haven't set the world alight. Even in the Nottingham Forest game, it was 4-0. It was never really a 4-0 game. They just imploded completely, and we scored 2 quick goals, and it just led to them just giving up. I think the scoreline flattered us. But that being said, at least it gave a little bit of feeling of, okay, we're starting to settle down a little bit. You feel like we're going to pick up a few results. But to then go to Brighton and play in that manner, it just shows that there is serious problems behind the scenes at West Ham. Massive problems. The players are simply just not playing for the manager. They just are not. I was reading, we were doing a preview before the game. We were looking at a few quotes from the players, and Danny Ings was saying how up for it we were today, a big game, and we realised the importance of it. Well, what rubbish then? Why say all this stuff if that is the manner of the performance? Because clearly then it's not that important to the players. It can't be. The defending was atrocious. I mean, it really is terrible. I'd love to know what people feel about this and get your opinions. And the actual opinion for me is now, because this is where I'm stuck, is I'm now thinking, okay, change the manager. And that is what I'm thinking. I think that is natural. We're going to feel that way. We've been feeling that way for a long time and feeling that it just isn't working, that, it's become incredibly stale at West Ham now. The players, all right, as I've said, I thought that we were starting to respond a little bit and get a bit more organised. But ultimately, we've never really looked great under David Moyes at all this season. And that performance and that result epitomised the whole season for me. Just lazy, lethargic, just not up for it. This season has been shocking from the moment it kicked off. It really has been. And it's just never improved. And that just epitomised it for me. But my feeling is, sorry to go off tangent there, my feeling is that with David Moyes now, if we change him, which is, as I've said, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards and thinking, no, I'm expecting it in a way. Part of me sort of thinking, I wonder if the board will just act now. But the issue is, what do you do? Who do you bring in? There isn't a, we know what our owners are like. We know that our owners are just totally void of any creativity, of any real understanding of the manager market. All they do is just go around looking at Premier League managers and going, who's available, who's free. That's how we operate. We don't operate in a smart, suave manner where we know what manager we want. West Ham wouldn't go and get Will Steele tonight. We're just not like that. Some would go, Michael Carrick from Middlesbrough. I'm not saying these people are available and we can go and do it easily, but what I'm saying is we're not like that. You'd think that if we went to say someone like Michael Carrick, we could say, right, go on, how much do you want compensation? They'd go, well, £10 million. We'd go, okay, fine. But there you go. There's your money. Carrick, you're in. That's what I'd like to see from someone like West Ham. That's what I want to see from a club of our stature, but we won't. We'll go for someone like Benitez because, he's free. He's available. Look, he was on Sky Sports the other night. He's out of work. That's how we operate. So that's my feeling. If West Ham are to sack David Moyes, that's a big if. I don't know. I haven't spoken to ex-WHU employee. He will be doing an update very soon, I'm sure, on Patreon regarding the situation with Moyes. My feeling will be that there will be some emergency meetings being held. There's surely got to be. This cannot be something that the owners can just brush under the carpet and go, oh, well, next week. I think they're going to have to say, look, this is getting beyond serious now. It's, critical. But who would you get in? If Moyes is replaced, who would you get in? Because, and I'm talking realistic here, think of the mindsets of David Sullivan and think of the mindsets of how we operate. My feeling is if I could pick a manager, it would be someone like Vincent Kompany or Michael Carrick. So, young, up-and-coming managers, doing well. Will Steele, I would absolutely love. I know it'd be a massive risk, but I love the fact he's a massive West Ham fan, doing so well in his career, young and up-and-coming guy. I know, though, West Ham won't do that. That is just not how David Sullivan. For a start, he has to pay compensation. We don't do that. That's not a West Ham way. We like to do everything on the cheap. We know that. That's why we got David Moyes in twice. Then you've got to then think of who we're going to get. So Benitez really is, let's be honest, the standout candidate. I'm not thrilled by it. I wouldn't be excited by it. But I'm actually getting to the point where I'd probably go, oh, go on then. Do you know what I mean? Just at least because it would change something up for a little while. It wouldn't excite me at all. I just feel that this it's like the club need a bit of a breath of fresh air. I'm not saying we necessarily need the right manager right now that's going to take West Ham forward for the next 10 years and be competing for European football, that kind of stuff. I'm just thinking, the club just need a bit of a breath of fresh air in there. Just someone to say, look, David's gone now. David Moyes has been replaced. This is the new guy. It just makes the players more excited to come to work. Coming in and thinking, I've got to impress this guy. I want to work. I want to, just get some new ideas out there, I just think that's what's got to happen. But my question is, who's it going to be? I mean, Benitez for me is the kind of obvious one now because of who's available and we know how our club operates. But however, I'm sure there'll be people that have got other ideas and might think, actually, no, we could go for this. I was actually crying out for Scott Parker. I appreciate he hasn't done brilliant where he's gone, but that was my kind of choice because I just felt he would just inject a bit of life. And in fact, he was a West Ham captain and stuff. But obviously, that's now never going to happen. So, yeah, that's the question. Who is it going to be? And Yeah, and of course, give me your feelings on David Moyes and the team today. I'd like to know that. And what really do you honestly feel? Do you really think is the time to change the manager? I mean, I've done a quick poll on Twitter, and the response has been massive, and it's still running. It's going to be running for a while, and it's overwhelming that they want to replace Moyes, which is obviously I appreciate. Look, this is fresh off of a loss, so people are going to be very emotions are running high, but I actually do think now that the club have to do something. They have to do something because this is now becoming very, very critical for the club, West Ham. I mean, at the end of the day, we are staring at relegation at the moment. We are quite literally hedging our bets on the fact that other teams are going to be worse than us. I mean, we're looking at Southampton, Bournemouth, Everton. For me, they're the sort of teams we're looking at, possibly Leeds, and probably 4 teams that are worse than us. That's all we've got going for ourselves this season. It's literally we're clinging on to the fact that hopefully these teams stay worse few us, and we only have to pick up a few more wins somewhere at home against the poorer sides, and that might be enough to keep us up. That is literally now where West Ham are this season. I've got to be honest. We've done a video talking about the Conference League, and I'm going to contradict myself now. I'm actually like these performances like this that just make me feel so flat this season. I'm not even interested in it. We're supposed to be looking forward to this. We've got European football next week, in a knockout phase of the Conference League. We could go and win a trophy for the first time in 40 odd years. And I'm not even remotely excited about it now. I'm just so flat and so sick of the season. I can't wait to see the back of it. Sick of it. It's been so bad. And, it's so draining. Every time you feel like there's any momentum of West Ham this campaign, any time you think, go on, just go and show us something. Go and show that we're up for it. The club just literally turn around and slap you in the face straight away. Bang. We're back to where we were. No, Mark. We're back to where we are. We are in the relegation fight for a reason. We are awful. And that was just a massive reminder today. Brighton are light years ahead of us at the moment this season. Look how well they've literally just picked us apart. I don't think they'll have an easier win. This season. I'm absolutely furious, as you can imagine, trying to keep my emotions under control. I don't really know what else to add to it, other than, look, please leave your comments. Let me know your feelings of it. And obviously your feelings on 1, David Moyes, and 2, who would you bring in?